We can rock up with this to a VW event. We can rock up to a Subaru event or a Jap Fest because we've got a Japanese engine, and the radiator's off a Mustang. So technically,
Ford Fest.
And also the car was built in Mexico, so we could go to the Americana as well.
Oh yeah, they'd love us.
But the only one we can't go is French. But I'll be honest with you, we could because the cup holders come from France, but one's broken. Hi, I'm Simon Ferguson, and this is Alex Collins, and this is our Volkswagen Beetle, MexiBug7. She's running a 2.5 litre Subaru power plant with a bespoke gearbox and wiring loom. Produced in Mexico. It was imported to this country. When we got it, it was pretty much standard, wasn't it?
It was.
1600 air-cooled engine, rear seats, 40-something brake horsepower, which wasn't enough to drag you out of bed. My early memories of driving were having a 1968 Volkswagen Beetle, and it was rear-engined. My friend had a Hillman Imp, and we used to go out jumping little speed humps on the prom at Blackpool. So yeah, I mean, we decided when we got it, I mean, basically we're on a job, weren't we?
We were.
We decided we wanted to do a road rally across Europe. I went on eBay. About 10 minutes later, we arranged to go and get it, did the deal. Absolutely haggled it to death, didn't we? He wanted 3,000 quid, I gave him 2. Felt sorry for him, so I gave him 2,100. Drove it home. First thing we did to it, what did we do to it first?
Put some stickers on it.
No, after the stickers. Yeah, we put the stickers on it. After we put some stickers on it, we decided we were going to take it to the racetrack, didn't we?
Yeah, we took it to Three Sisters.
Because we had nothing better to do. So we took it to Three Sisters in Wigan and took it round the circuit on a whim. Went to Santa Pod, took this down the strip, got 20, and it all started from there. Absolutely loved it. It's had various engines in it, and this is probably the last incarnation, which does push it below the 10-second mark. We'd done road trips in it prior to that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a 24-hour to Scotland.
We got up one morning, didn't we, and just decided to go to Scotland, go to John O'Groats, and then come back. Yeah. Alternator went, starter motor went.
You lost the fuel filler cap.
I lost a fuel filler cap, yeah.
So what did you do? You put a rag in it and then was smoking next to it. There's a Molotov cocktail on wheels. Yeah,
there's a limited amount of petrol stations in Scotland, so you're sort of in the realms of when you're getting nearly empty, you have to go off the main road and find it.
Yeah, they all shut at 3 o'clock.
And they shut at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. We didn't know that. No. So we basically left. I had to leave the engine running because the starter motor went, or park it on a hill. Oh, and you have to get out and push it.
Yeah, and I nearly got taken out by an 18-wheeler at 6 in the morning.
Yeah. And it's been a lot of fun, and we've sort of, over the last 8 years, I think I've owned it. We've had various incarnations with it, but this one that we've done now has been the most radical. There isn't very much left of the original car, basically being just the body. We've put a 2.5 litre flat 4 quad cam Subaru engine in it, had it rebored, rebuilt. It's pushing out somewhere in the 350 bracket. I bought a huge turbo for it, which we're not fitting. When this goes on the strip, it sits up on its back wheels and pushes the front wheels about a foot off the floor, and it stays that way for 30 foot. When you land, you have to pedal it because you don't know which way you're going to be facing. That said, we've put gas shocks on the front and we can lower it so it sniffs the floor. But we use this on the road as well. So at the moment it's got coilovers on it, which brings the front up a couple of inches so you can get over speed humps, and we do car shows and bits and pieces with it. Well, when we first took it with this engine, the gearbox blew apart on the two-step. We were waiting for the light, revved it up to about 8,000, took the clutch out, and it just took the gearbox apart. So I've since had a £5,000 gearbox makeover. She does 75 mile an hour in first gear, and she does 75 mile an hour in reverse gear. Second gear will take you over 100, and the fastest I've been in it, which is not its fastest, is about 156 mile an hour on the sat nav. The fastest she's been down the strip is 10.4, but we have had her faster on an airfield.
That's not with these tyres on either.
Not with these tyres. We run on 450 tyres on the rear, semi-slicks, but these tyres are road legal. So that's we spend most of our time on the road with it, going to shows. The inside of it, there's nothing inside. We basically stripped it out to 2 bucket seats. She doesn't have a heater.
No, it's very cold, and then bucket seats are not comfortable. As we know, we slept in it for 24 hours.
We slept in it, yeah. When we went to Scotland, we had a little kip, and it was the most uncomfortable trip I've ever taken. If we go to shows down south, we trailer this either to the show, or we trailer it within 5 miles of the show, park on Tesco's car park, and then take the car off and act like we've driven it from Blackpool, because it is uncomfortable. And the other side of it is, you don't realise a 70-year-old design, when you're on the motorway, you've got a wagon next to you, you're very, very exposed. No airbags, no power brakes, no power steering. I mean, she's running at the moment, I've got a Polo steering column, and I've got Golf GTI brakes, because when we were testing the engine, we spent all the money on the ECU, the wiring loom, getting the engine to fit, having the conversions plates made, and then, like I said, we had the gearbox redone. I've done all the work myself with Alex's help, and I've got a friend who's into VWs, Michael, and he comes around and helps us. But obviously the specialist stuff like the wiring loom we had made in Stafford by a specialist. The gearbox again was done a place near Stoke-on-Trent. He specialises in Subaru conversions. So everything that's major and specialist has been done sort of by somebody else, but we've put the whole thing together. All the suspension setup is obviously we've done, and tuning the engine obviously. The silver tubes in the back were originally, we had a 2300 air-cooled engine in it, and we needed air to the engine because it's air-cooled. So I drilled 200mm holes. We decided this at work, didn't we?
Yeah, we were plastering and having a break.
Yeah, so we're on a break, and I've got a loft conversion business, so we're sat there having a break. I think we were plastering.
We were, yeah.
And I came up with the idea of putting some vents on the side, sort of like Lamborghini style, drilling 200mm holes and running pipes to the back to feed the engine, which worked. It did work. Obviously, when we fitted the Subaru engine, we had the other problem that these pipes were pretty much redundant. I have to leave them in because I don't want 200mm holes in the side of the car.
Plus, they look cool.
And when the lights are on inside the car, they shine, which is cool. But yeah, we had the other problem is the radiator at the back, as you can probably see. It pokes up above the back.
Never noticed.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't stand out, does it?
No.
It doesn't stand out.
Mad Max.
No, yeah. Everybody else puts them in the front. The problem with that for us was we wanted to be as low as possible to give us the best centre of gravity, and bringing the pipes through the car meant A, getting rid of a passenger seat, which we go to car shows, so I didn't want to go that way. B, if you have a leak, you're trapped in a harness with boiling water pouring over you, and it didn't appeal to me in that way. We run down Santa Pod with a bag of sand in front. It's laughable. Everybody else is there stripping things out, trying to get that extra second, and we're humping a bag of sand across and putting it in the front.
Shout out to Furwoods.
Yeah, the good side with that is it keeps the wheels on the ground, which we can get a faster time. The bad side of it is at 150 mile an hour, when you brake with this car, you have no power brakes, no power steering. So with that extra weight on the front, it makes the dynamics of the car very hazy. In fact, scary.
Terrifying.
Terrifying. We tested this when we were building it. When we were part built, we tested the engine on a runway, and I took a mile to stop, and it was absolutely scary. There was smoke coming out the brakes. The front of the car was bobbing up and down. The rear of the car was bouncing about. So we've since, I think the suspension now is sorted. I mean, I don't have any issues now taking this to 150. The brakes are adequate. but we've got a parachute to go on it because I think at the end of the day I'd like that extra backup. We basically just live to go to Santa Pod and see what we can get. I don't have any other ambitions other than to get this as low as I can get it, and I'm hoping to go below 9 if I can.
But we don't want to turn it into a pro mod. We want a normal car.
I also don't want to turn it into a rolled over scrap metal.
But the idea wasn't actually to put it on the drag strip. It was to do road trips and
We just want
car
something
shows.
to look cool.
But even when we rocked up at car shows with this, when it was not really that modified, it had its original 1600 engine.
It still gets noticed.
We still got noticed because nobody else has one.
No.
But now we rock up at a car meet. I mean, we're going to one on Saturday. Last Saturday.
Yeah.
I rocked up. I've got lighting underneath it. I've got the engine bay all lights up. It spits a few flames in the dark. It sounds like thunder. And the minute you pull up, you've got massive crowds. I mean, we Nebworth.
Petrol
5 weeks ago.
Yeah, Petrol Headism Live. We got picked out for the award. Richard Rawlings, which is over there. Richard Rawlings sort of signed the wing at the rear.
Absolutely fantastic day, wasn't it?
It was brilliant.
But
yeah.
I'm guessing he picked it because you can have £1 million car and you can buy it from a showroom. And I've had big 6 Series and cars that are way more capable than this. I liken this when you drive this on the drag strip and you line up next to a modern GTR. This is like putting a jet engine in a Spitfire. You have no creature comforts, you have no ABS, no traction control, no power steering, no power brakes, no nothing.
No control, really.
If you make a mistake with this, the chances are with no airbags, and I've got a roll cage, I wouldn't like to put it to the test, and the petrol tank on this is still at the front for weight distribution. I couldn't move it to the rear because it's too much weight. I mean, the thing with this, if you take this to a high enough speed in the wrong conditions, it will kill you. Whereas a GTR, you've got a lot more control. I mean, when I was younger, I always wanted a 911. And now I can afford one. I'm probably not going to get one because this does what I need. The turbo will never go on it. I have nitrous kit that... I've got wheelie bars and a nitrous kit that we use on the track. Obviously for daytime travel around town and going to car meets, we're not allowed to put them on. Everything that's on the car today is its road legal form. I mean, this is out dragged R32s. I don't think there's very much that would take this on the first 60 foot. And once it starts to vibrate over 150, I ease off, but it's still accelerating. So on a more modern car, you've obviously got those stability factors that you can go that bit quicker at high end. But on an 1/8 mile, you don't need to do more than 150. Was when we got the award, we got given it off Richard Rawlings and he signed the wing. Richard Rawlings is a bit of a legend in our field, isn't he?
Well, he's the inspiration for this.
Yeah, we've watched him for the last 15 years and he put into the realms of possibility that you can make a car and it can look as stupid as you want, so long as it does what it says on the tin. So having the radiator on the rear and the engine sticking out and massive tyres on it and looking like a Beetle but really not, he kind of made that an acceptable thing in the car world. Next year I think I'm doing probably 9 events, Bug Jam, Breakout, pretty much everything at Santa Pod that involves USC. And the other thing is, we can rock up with this to a VW event, we can rock up to a Subaru event, or a Jap Fest, because we've got a Japanese engine, and the radiator's off a Mustang, so technically...
Ford Fest.
And also the car was built in Mexico, so we could go to the Americana as well.
Oh yeah, they'd love us.
But the only one we can't go is French, but I'll be honest with you, we could, because the cup holders come from France. but one's broken.
Yeah.
Something else, I don't know if you remember, but the first time we took this on the track, something came off in my hand when I was doing 80 miles an hour.
The exhaust tip, yeah.
No, not the exhaust. Well, the exhaust tip came off.
The steering wheel.
The steering wheel came off in my hand while I was taking a little S-bend like that. What we'd done, we put a smaller steering wheel on it because it was catching my knees, put a 10-inch in, and there's a little nut that holds it, and I hadn't tightened it properly because I was preoccupied. And we're going round, we've got our helmets on, he's got his visor up because he's fearless, and he's eating an apple through the little hole. And I took this S, and I must have pulled back a little bit, and I pulled the steering wheel off with my hand. I looked at him, he's carrying on eating this apple, and I just stuck it back on, did 2 more laps and pulled off, and then we got obviously tightened the bottom.
Weirdly, I've got a lot of trust in him. Yeah. Weirdly.
Never crashed it.
No, you haven't actually.
And did I crash the GT4?
No, I didn't. That's the other thing. We do run nitrous on this car.
Not on the road?
No, not on the road. I'm not even fitted now. I was running it for a short while, and some things are a waste of time. It doesn't need it. I mean, I've got a turbo at the back there. It doesn't need that. We were going to do so much extra to get more power.
It's quick enough.
You can't put any more power. It's
quick enough.
You just can't. It's at its absolute limit. I mean, this body shell was designed to do a maximum speed, I'm guessing somewhere between 60 and 70 mile an hour on absolute full revs with its little air-cooled engine and everything else. But now these are new wings, because the one thing about these cars, they rot. I mean, this doesn't get garaged all the time. It gets trailered everywhere, and I'm not one of these people who has a show queen. If I go to the drag strip and somebody wants to race me, it doesn't matter whether it's snowing, hailing, rain, frost, you know.
Could be a hurricane, and
could be a hurricane.
You'd still be lining up.
So long as they've got a few quid, I'll still drag them. I even dragged somebody for a pair of trainers once. Yeah.
Funnily enough, it's the trainers he's wearing.
Yeah. He didn't want to do it for money. So I said, tell you what, I said, I'll have your trainers. And he went, you are? I went, tell you what. I goes, what size are you? And he's like, I'm a 10. I went, same as me. I said, tell you what. I said, I beat you. I said, we swap trainers. He's like, you take it? I said, no. I said, we're not taking the mick. I said, no, I'm not just racing you for nothing.
Yeah, the guy's lost as well because they're £200 Yeezys.
Yeah. I said, what happens if I lose? I said, I'm going to look silly. I said, it can have engine failure or anything. I won't tell you who it is because I know him. But yeah, I'm wearing his trainers. And he'd only had them 3 days. This thing's amazing on the road though, isn't it? Because before, people used to pull up behind you and stick the things out, oh, thumbs up. Now, they pull alongside you. And they're looking at the red light like that, you know? And you're like, oh, God, here we go. But we don't get parking tickets in either, do we? Park on double yellows, you come back, traffic warden stood there taking photographs. Yeah. You're like,
oh, I love your car, man.
And he's like, yeah, listen, you better move it. I love that car, mate. Yeah. Go on, off your pop.
Even the police love this car.
Even the police.
We were at a car meet the other day, and a guy came over, and we thought he was going to shout at us for revving it, and he was like, oh, I love that, mate. What have you put in it? How have you done that? It's mint.
It's always been a passion of mine to go quick. I've always liked car shows. So, this is my favourite, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say it's a favourite as well.
Yeah.
I was a fan of the Celica, but I do like this a lot more.
GT4 is a nice car. It's just, I mean, that's an attention grabber, but it's not got the charisma this car's generally got.
Well, the Beetles sort of have a stigma of being they're old, they're slow, they're noisy.
I've got a new exhaust system to go on it. We had a bespoke system made for the Subaru engine, and that wasn't cheap. That was in the, I'm going to say about £1,000, but hopefully my wife doesn't see this. I bought an Impreza rear exhaust end, and I've got a flame throwing kit to go on it for show. So I'm going to angle it up at 45 degrees and have a flamethrower out the back.
Why not?
Just because my friend Daniel Brookfield's got 2 coming out of his Mustang.
Yeah.
And he shows off with them cooking pumpkins.
He was at
well, I'm going to cook a complete hog.
Yeah, cook your steak.
Yeah, I'm going to spit roast it on the back and send him the video.